Hey everyone, and welcome to Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, the author of Unprocessed, The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss, and Own Your Health. And this is where I show you recipes for healthy, permanent, and sustainable weight loss. Today I'm going to show you one of my favorite recipes from my book, Unprocessed. You'll find it on page 272, and I call it Game-Changing Granola. If you're like me and you ever tried something like Quaker 100% natural granola, you know it is delicious, these crunchy little nuggets, but they're really high in fat, sugar, and salt. Well, I wanted to create a granola that wasn't high in any of those. I even have one granola recipe in my ebook, A Date with Dessert, that's higher in fat, but I wanted to create one where we didn't have to worry about how much of it we would eat. And I particularly like this for when I start traveling again, because sometimes when I teach at these spas that are calorie controlled and portion controlled, I just don't get enough food, so I need some calories, and I need something that's really transportable, that's not going to spoil, and this is perfect because it's dehydrated, so it will last for months. So I'm going to start right now here with 6 cups of rolled oats, and these are gluten-free, but you can use, if you're not gluten-free, you can use regular, I suppose. And then I'm going to add my spices, which are cinnamon, vanilla powder, and cardamom. What an amazing combination. Don't get chintzy with your spices. It makes such a difference. And my favorite cinnamon is the one from Local Spicery. It's a Saigon Cassia cinnamon. And people have gone back to Nick and say, this has sugar in it. It doesn't, but this isn't the 99-cent source cinnamon. It's so worth it, and it makes such a difference. Then, of course, the vanilla powder and the cardamom. So I'm just going to stir my spices into my oats, just like that, very easy. And then I'm going to take my bananas. You'll need at least 8 ounces. You need at least 2 large. And you want to make sure your bananas are ripe because there is no refined sugar in here. It's just fruit, and we're not even using dates to keep it lower in caloric density. And then a half a cup of unsweetened applesauce. And if you want to make your own, it's so easy to do in an Instant Pot, and I can link to the recipe where I show you how to make it. So I'm just going to puree the banana and the applesauce. And then I am going to pour this over the oats. I want to get every last bit. Now I know what some of you are going to ask in the comments, can I do this in the oven? I don't know, because my understanding with ovens, they just don't go as low as dehydrator. The highest setting on a dehydrator, I believe, is 160. I don't think any oven goes that low. And what you dehydrate on really depends. If you're 100% raw living foodist, I know they don't like to go over 118 degrees. I'm not, so I just crank it all the way up as high as I can, so it'll be done as quickly as possible. And so it really makes a difference if you get these Teflex sheets when you get your dehydrator. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting a lot of parchment paper. I've had these since 2003, and they're completely reusable. I think a set of 9 was something like $27, because you need to start out when you have wet things on the Teflex, and after it dries to the top, you can remove it and then dry it on the screen, where it will dry a lot quicker. So how long this takes depends on how hot it is. I live where it's 118 degrees right now. This is going to dry very quickly. It depends on the ambient room temperature, lots of things. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to pour it over the screen, and you're going to dry it for a couple of hours. You're going to dry it just till it's dry to the touch. And then when it's dry to the touch, then you're going to flip it and continue drying it to the desired level of crunchiness. So with dehydrated recipes, you can't really do exact like you would say if you were doing a baking recipe. It's really going to depend on a lot of things. And a lot of times things will continue to get even more crunchy after they've come out of the dehydrator. So if you're somebody that really misses crunchy food, you know, you might want to consider getting a dehydrator, especially if you're avoiding things like flour and oil. So you want to make sure it's wet enough, and if it's not, I can feel that it is. You would have to add a little bit more banana or a little bit more applesauce. So now I'm going to just put it over the top. It usually takes about 4 cups, so I'll probably need 2 dehydrator sheets. And then I'm just going to spread it over the top, and I'll do this with another sheet. And then I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like when it's done. So this is an Excalibur 9-tray dehydrator, and after a couple of hours I go and check it, and I just feel the top. The top is nice and dry, but it's moist on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it. And the way you flip it is you take another tray with the screen without the Teflex, and you just go like this. And you can see that it is not dry on the bottom, but it will dry now. And so what I like to do before it gets too crunchy is break it up into little pieces, because it's just easier to break it while it's still soft. You can do it after it's completely hard, but it's just a little easier to do it now. So you break it into pieces. You could break it into big pieces. You could make these into granola bars and be all perfect and cut them, but I don't mind the irregular pieces. As a matter of fact, I kind of prefer it. And then I'm going to just stick it back in the dehydrator for another few hours until it's nice and crisp, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so then after several hours after flipping, it could be 2, 4, 6, 8 overnight, it really doesn't matter, it depends how crunchy you want it. You take it out and you can see, you can hear how crunchy these are. They'll break. So if you have teeth problems, you might want to serve this in some kind of non-dairy milk. And then what I do is I put it in a good airtight container, or you could use a Ziploc bag. And I love that it's dehydrated because it will last a really, really long time. It's so great for hiking or travel because it won't go bad. You can get it through TSA because it's nice and crunchy, and it is so sweet and delicious. So there you have it, game-changing granola, basically made from 2 ingredients. Thanks so much for watching another episode of Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, and I truly believe you can have both the health and the body you so richly deserve. And now you can have some crunch.